And we are live. Greetings from California, everybody. Aaron the dog back with another edition of the UFC Betting Breakdown show. This week we are covering UFC Fight Night, Rob Font versus Jose Aldo, as well as Rafael Fiziev in the co-main event, taking on Brad Riddell in a guaranteed fireworks show. I am little different setup today. First of all, if the Wi-Fi is a little off or it's choppy, I apologize. But I am joining you from bright and sunny Los Angeles, California, live from the Ramada here in West Hollywood. Out here on vacation and not taking a break from the breakdown shows after a week. Guys, am I sounding okay? I see Tony's here. I see Alec Miller. What up, guys? Tony's baseball as well. Yep, in LA, poolside, not too bad. And then, of course, Bunny herself making the appearance. Congratulations on the Bellator media appearance as well. Doing big things over there. Just trying to be like my hero here. But we had a whole week off and almost to that 300 subs, baby. 291. Again, am I sounding okay, everybody? Just give me kind of a little bit of a thumbs up or something. I get if it's a little choppy, doing the best I can. Appreciate it, Bunny. Good luck with your stuff today as well. I appreciate the support always. But sounding okay, everybody? If so, if I don't hear anything otherwise, I'm going to just type a real quick message in here to make sure. Okay, sounding great. Thank you, Bunny. All right, well, I'm just going to get started. It's just me today. Tomorrow I should have the Bellator breakdown up as well with Lewis. I just flew 7 hours, got off the plane, went to this dispensary right down the street from my hotel, and then poolside, got the Wi-Fi going. We're going to get this breakdown done. I almost thought about skipping this week, but y'all know me. I can't do that. There won't be any time codes today, so apologies in advance for that. And the squintiness. It's bright out. It's kind of making a little bit of a glare, but yeah, we're going to deal with it here. We got 15 fights to break down here. We had a week off, and damn, was it a long week. I don't know about you guys, but I have been spoiled by the MMA world as of the last, basically this entire pandemic, keeping me sane, and before and after. So we're going to start out at the Bantamweight division here with a matchup between Luis Smolka and Vince Morales, The Last Samurai versus Vendetta. Vince Morales, I'll be breaking down first, 10-5 out of Ontario, Oregon, fighting with American Free Fight MMA now. I believe that's a new gym for him. 31 years old, 135, 5'7", 68-inch reach against the 5'9", 68.5-inch reach of the 30-year-old Luis Smolka. As I said, Vince Morales will be getting broken down first here. 10-5 record, not the best of records, but has faced a pretty high level of competition since being in the octagon. So I will give him that credit here. But one of the losses coming to Benito Lopez, no longer in the UFC. But Yadong Song, very good competitor, beat Ayman Zahabi, who came back and looked good. Dropped the first round against Draco Rodriguez, and then came back and absolutely took over. We've kind of seen Draco Rodriguez, not exactly the strongest of prospects, kind of a busted prospect. I believe he got cut from the UFC, but still showed really good poise in that matchup. And Vince, I believe going into that was a pick'em. So yeah, it was a pick'em. Fair enough. But yeah, he looked really good against Ayman Zahabi. He's got very good leg kicks. Sometimes I have some questions about just his overall ability to stay disciplined. And then he has the submission loss to Domingo Pilarte. We've kind of seen how Pilarte's looked. Against Chris Gutierrez, really stayed in the range of the leg kicks, which is the one thing you can't do against Chris Gutierrez, but easier said than done, of course. But I'll be breaking down Luis Smolka now. Luis Smolka, I really enjoy watching this guy fight. I have a lot of respect for him. He's not had at all an easy career. 17-7, 30 years old now, 5'9", 68.5-inch reach, so nearly identical reaches. Team Oyama, shout out to Fernando Padilla. Get that visa issue figured out, my brother, and get back in there. But coming off the win against Jose Alberto Quinones, where he was having a little bit of trouble in the first round against Quinones. So both these guys dropped their first round in their last fight, but really come back strong. Their poise and everything is definitely one of their biggest strengths. And, I think this is going to be an absolute war. I think that both guys are going to put themselves in positions to possibly be in danger while also providing the danger. With Luis Smoka, one thing I do like about him, I do think that he has a very good ground game. He has been finished in a couple of his fights, but he also is able to finish. Sumanjari, armbar is one that really stuck out for me. We've got win over Ryan McDonald. He's alternating wins and losses in his last 3. The Kyle Estrada win in the regional circuit was a very impressive win as well. He's always testing himself. Second time around in the UFC, he's gone 2-2 so far. But he's a finisher, man. He's got deceptive striking and really good groundwork. I think that he ends up dragging Vince a little bit deep into the second, third round and getting a finish of some sort. Seriously, Mystic Sosa. Finally, some MMA. A whole week we had to wait. And I will have the Bellator breakdown tomorrow. My pick here is Luis Smoka. I like him to finish this fight. I think he's got better overall rate of experience. His second time around in the UFC, he looks much more focused and a little more disciplined. I like Luis Smoka quite a bit in this spot. We get to the odds. Luis Smoka is a minus 150 favorite, plus 125 on Vince Morales. I think those odds are pretty accurate, but I will be starting out with maybe a few parlays involving him. You can also bet Luis Smoka straight up and inside the distance. Should get you some decent money there. So we'll see. I'm still need those odds to come out. Right now, the under 1.5 is plus 225. The under 2.5 is plus 125. They're seeing this fight going the distance. I personally think this fight gets finished one way or the other. I think both these guys are going to be really hungry in there. And so I would bet the under, especially if it's plus money. So that is the first fight. Again, it is bright. It is warm. So sweat might happen. The glaring might happen a little bit. I'm doing the best I can. But, the things we do to do our breakdowns poolside in Los Angeles. Next fight, 170 division here. This is a weird fight, man. Alex Murano versus Mickey Gall. Right off the bat, the thing that sticks out for me with this, I don't know why Murano would be fighting second on the card. First of all, I think that's kind of crazy, but 20-7 versus 7-3 here. Not sure what Mickey Gall has done to get the ire of the UFC brass, but he certainly has done that. So 7-3, 29 years old, nearly 30 years old now for Mickey Gall. Kind of surprising. 6'2", 74-inch reach for the Gracie, New Jersey Academy representative here. We'll take a look at Mickey Gall's last few. He's been alternating wins and losses over those. He did win his last fight out in July of this year. July 24th over Jordan Williams. Really just came out and could not have fought more of a perfect fight for him. We saw he's not the most trustworthy. Yeah, armchair, fair enough. But, is Vince Morales the most trustworthy of fighters? Luis Smoka, I think, is able to kind of put away a guy like Vince Morales. I don't really rate Vince Morales all that highly. So, yeah, that's why I think Smoka is favored here. And I am trusting Smoka more in the second time around here. So, join me, armchair. Don't go with Vince Morales. Please don't. Mickey Gall, though, looked so good against Jordan Williams. And we saw how Jordan Williams looked against Ian Gary at Madison Square Garden. I was there. Jordan Williams I actually picked for that fight, and he was dragging Ian Gary, who is going to be one of the higher prospects for sure. And yep, exactly. Smoka's got that veteran rub. Join me, armchair. And he's younger than Vince Morales, and he's faced a better level of competition. He's sober now. The weight issue isn't an issue at bantamweight. Smoka, baby. Let's go. But smoke him if you got him. Before that, for Mickey Gall, lost to Mike Perry. Just a lot of his fights that he loses, Randy Brown, Diego Sanchez, and Mike Perry. In fact, all three of his losses came from just being physically overwhelmed by his opponents. I think that could be a similar issue here, but also just straight up, Alex Murano the aggression and the pressure he puts on is kind of a nightmare for a guy like Mickey Gall. Mickey Gall does not like the pressure. We saw with Diego Sanchez that play out to fruition. 2 straight wins for Alex Murano, the Fortis MMA representative coming into this. Decision over Zawada, knocked out Donald Cerrone, and he's now fighting second on Fight Night card against Mickey Gall. I mean, straight up for me, he is sober now. Don't laugh at that, Christopher. He's sober now. That's a big deal. Congratulations, Luis. But yeah, this to me is just Murano all day. I'd love to hear from anybody who's picking Mickey Gall, because I think Murano is just going to be in his face and stay in his face until he puts him away. Minus 230 right now for Alex Murano, I think is completely parlayable. I do not see him getting submitted here by Mickey Gall. You see the types of losses that he's had lately, Murano, and Chaos Williams in 27 seconds. Mickey Gall's not doing anything like that. Anthony Pettis, and, you know, it's just like then you have to go back to Jordan Mean and Kedi Nakamura way back in the day. So he's been on a roll here. He's beaten guys like Kenan Song, Max Griffin, and then, you know, got Donald Cerrone, David Sawada. I think that's right along the lines of a Mickey Gall, and I like another inside the distance here. So give me Alex Murano by knockout. Mickey Gall, tough break here for him, in my opinion. But, yeah, I think Murano's a tough guy down the stretch. Also, with Murano, Armchair, I just think that pressure, and, you know, is how you beat a guy like Mickey Gall, not allowing him to get into the grappling transitions where he can be on top or get the back. That is not what Jordan Williams did. That's why I picked Jordan Williams. I thought he'd be able to pull that off. I think Murano is able to do that as well, push the pace. He takes this one. Pretty surprised at the odds there. So I think that's one that you should get before it goes too much higher. I could see it at 300 or more. Speaking of large odds, Azamat Mirzakhanov taking on the short notice replacement in Jared Vandera. Oh, Jared Vandera. What do I say about you? 12-6 for the California representative, 29 and a half years old, fighting Dan Henderson at Athletic Fitness Center as well as Team Quest. 6'4", 80-inch reach against the 5'10", 71-inch reach of Azamat Mirzakhanov. So that's right away something that sticks out. Jared the Mountain Vandera. So far, haven't been incredibly too impressed with what I've been able to see from him inside the UFC. Lost his last fight out, and that was against Alexander Romanov. Got knocked down in the second round by Romanov. It was a pretty kind of sloppy fight, and for Romanov to have enough gas to put it away in the second round, we've kind of seen how Romanov dissipates as the fight goes on. Got a ground and pound, got a decision win over Justin Tafa, who has the MMA IQ of one of the lower MMA IQs in the game. Sergey Spivak was able to ground and pound him out around the same end of the second round. Beat Harry Hunsucker in the Contender Series in a fight where Harry Hunsucker had rocked him at first. Jared Vandera, I'm not sold, man, at all. But Azamat Mirzakhanov, 10-0 off of the Contender Series here, 10 straight wins overall. Ended up getting the win against Matthias Scheffel, 14-6 opponent who'd been finished in 5 of his 6 losses. It was a right hook and ground strikes to end that fight. Overall, went back and watched, and he's a good Sambo fighter, got good power, hasn't faced a crazy level of competition, though. Did beat Andre Muniz back in 2016, though. Other than that, not a whole lot of high-level wins here. And fighting at 205, now moving up to 265, or moving up to heavyweight and taking on a 260-pound Vandera here. We really don't know what up, Bunny? Welcome back from the press conference. But we really don't know what to really expect here from Azamat moving up to the heavyweight division. So that's the real question here, and he's taking on a very, very large Jared Vandera, who might be able to just lean on him and just kind of take this one away. You want me to move in, sir? Do you want me to move in? I don't want to disturb you.
Move in where?
I can move into my room. I'm just okay, cool. All right, cool. I just don't want to bother you. So anyways, Vandera is definitely not an easy test at heavyweight 265. This is just one that overall I don't think is worth betting on at this point. Azamat making his heavyweight debut is very, very much risky. And, it should be able to take on Vandera, but it is significant going from 205 to 265, needless to say. So I am going to pick Azamat, but no bet going on that minus 220. Got to see what he looks like in the division prior to making the arrangements to go there. So straight up pass for me on this one. I can understand the stab at Vandera, but losing money on Jared Vandera is not a good time, people. So I would take a pass. So moving on to the next fight here. We're at 155. Claudio Puelles taking on Chris Grutzmaker at 155 here. Chris Grutzmaker, definitely a veteran of the game at this point, 15-4, coming off a big win in his last fight to save his career, taking on the young and up-and-comer Peruvian Claudio Puelles. Chris Grutzmaker, Grutz is 5'8", 68-inch reach here, fighting out of ATT, Coconut Creek, Florida. Again, won his last fight out against Rafa Garcia. Lost that first round pretty badly, and just volume, cardio, pressure were just working for Chris Grutzmaker in the second and third round. Took a pretty definitive decision prior to that. Put away by Alexander Hernandez. Joe Lozon, he ended up putting away in one of Joe Lozon's last fights. Hasn't been too active over the last few years, dealing with some injuries, partially retired, and now taking on the young Peruvian in Claudio Puelles. El Nino is 10-2. He is only 25 years old, made his UFC debut at 20 years old, fighting with Pitbull Martial Arts Center in Lima, Peru, coming off a very impressive few wins here in the UFC. He's quietly built together a 3-fight win streak. I get Marcos Murano, not the greatest opponent. Felipe Silva, though, with a knee bar, and then taking the hype of Jordan Levitt in the last fight. So a lot of really good momentum here for Puelles. Lost his debut to Martin Bravo for the Ultimate Fighter, and that was in 2016 when he was 20 years old. So forged in the fire here. I think he continues to improve here, and I expect Puelles to put on a show here against Grutzmaker. I think Grutzmaker was very fortunate to get another win, and minus 110 for Puelles. I really like the play here. Play it straight up. Puelles, I'm with him too. It's a straight pick 'em. Thanks, Armchair. I appreciate it. But we will move on to the next fight here. So far, Ramada Wi-Fi is holding up, much to the chagrin of the Google reviews. So here we go. At 205, William Knight taking on Alonzo Manafield. This is a very, very interesting fight. William Knight has had a little bit of a tough go so far in the UFC, 33 years old, 5'10", 73-inch reach, taking on the 6', 76-inch reach of Alonzo Atomic Manafield out of Fortis MMA. I'll be breaking down William Knight first here. This guy is built like a fire hydrant, I guess you could say, for a lack of better terms here. Did win his last fight out in August after rebounding from the fight against Da-Un Young, where he was taken down, I think, like 8, 9, 10 times in that fight. It was not a great look. Ended up knocking out Fabio Charant with counter left hook as he's moving backwards. That is something you can see in quite a few of Mr. Knight's fights here, is that his way of defending, he moves straight backwards with his head pretty high up, chin in the air. People are going to be on grits. I agree, Armchair, totally here. But I just think that kind of movement in defense with Alonzo Manafield is not going to work, to say the least. I also don't think that William Knight has the gas to exploit the issues in Alonzo Manafield. And another thing I've been really liking with Alonzo Manafield lately is in his last fight, they both beat Fabio Charant, by the way, in their last fight. Alonzo took Ed Herman in his last fight, where he went to the decision. Before that, Von flew on Charant. the thing I liked with the Charant fight, he used his wrestling. Alonzo Manafield is a much better wrestler than people realize, and I think that clearly that is a huge hole in William Knight's game. So between William Knight's lack of chin defense and I think the takedown defense, I think that Alonzo Manafield did show with Ed Herman he was able to get to a decision. So I get the cardio is not there great, but yeah, I like Alonzo Manafield in this position. I think he most likely catches the chin of Knight, but I'll be interested to see his approach. If he chooses to wrestle a little more, William Knight just doesn't have the cardio to, I think, exploit the gas issue in Alonzo Manafield. So I like Alonzo Manafield here. Another favorite for me, minus 150, plus 125 on William Knight. I'm surprised it's that close, to be honest. I think that decision over Ed Herman is going to really help Alonzo Knight moving forward, or Alonzo Manafield moving forward. But Alonzo Manafield 34, William Knight nearly 34 as well. So both these guys kind of exiting their athletic prime here in this division. So it's a very important fight, 11-2 versus 10-2. Good matchup here. Next fight here, moving to the strawweight division, we got Mallory Martin taking on Cheyenne Velicimas. I don't know why it says that. I know her Cheyenne Bays, JP Bays' husband or wife, I should say, and probably the more talented of the two fighters, frankly. But 6-2 versus 7-4. Elevation fight team for Mallory Martin, 5'4", 64-inch reach versus the 5'3", 63-inch reach of Cheyenne Bays' Warrior Princess here. We got 26.5 versus 27, nearly 28. Both of these girls in their primes. I'll be breaking down the Warrior Princess first here. 6-2, as I said here. Coming off of a win against Gloria DePaula, knocked her out with a beautiful head kick in the first round. Rebounded from a really tough debut against Montserrat Ruiz Conita, where the head and arm choke was there all day long, and she just couldn't get out of the position. Before that, she's had a lot of good wins on the regional scene. Lindsay Garbutt, as well as Hillary Rose, definitely showed she was ready. Fought Jillian Robertson in her amateur career. Vanessa Demopoulos, been in there with a ton of very good girls, showing very good potential, and the strikes looked on point that last fight. Mallory Martin coming into this on short notice here, 7-4 for Mallory. Team Elevation lost her last fight out to Polyana Viana by armbar. Got rear naked choked by Verna, as well as rear naked choked Hannah Cyphers herself. 1-2 so far in the UFC. Before the UFC, not the craziest level of competition. She did go 3 rounds with Macy Barber in LFA early on. But other than that, Nicole Desegni, Cynthia Arresio, decent but not incredible opponents here. This is one that for me is, it's a tough call because originally Mallory was supposed to actually Cheyenne's taking this fight on short notice, sorry, but can you confirm she got divorced? No, I don't know if she's gotten divorced, but she did get divorced. Okay, well, if that's so, that definitely makes it much more difficult. And she's training out with Fortis MMA though, about better. She's been out with Fortis for this camp, while Mallory is at Team Elevation. 2 good camps here. So yeah, Cheyenne is going through a divorce right now, but I'm not going to really have that play into my decision too much. I think the short notice is not going to be great for Cheyenne, and I just kind of I'm not really sure which way to go on this one. I think this is one of the closer fights on the card. I'm going to lean towards Mallory Martin. She's my first underdog, I believe, on the card, plus 160. A minus 200 on Cheyenne seems a little steep, and definitely need to look more into the issues she's dealing with. But overall, the short notice, the outside issues, maybe this causes some focus for her. But I just think that either way, I'm going with Mallory Martin, not based on the relationship, but just based on I just think the wrestling is going to be there for her. But Cheyenne's striking looks really improved, and she does have good defensive wrestling. So this could be a tough one, but I'll take the dog here. I think it's a much closer fight than the odds indicate. So good fight there. And I'm sure we'll get some info on what's going on with Cheyenne as we go along here. Next fight is at 125. Zhalgas Zhumagulov taking on Manal Kopp. Very good 125 matchup here. Starboy versus Zako. Manal Kopp I'll be breaking down first. 28 years old, just turned 28 a couple weeks ago. 5'5", 68-inch reach for the VS team member, originally from Portugal. I'll be breaking him down here, coming off of knockout where he missed weight. So that should be mentioned. Missed weight by, I believe, let's see if it tells us. He did miss weight by 4 pounds, weighing at 129 against Ode Osborne. Very good first round. Ended up getting a flying knee towards the end of the first round, getting the finish. Before that, started out with 2 losses, very close fights against Pantosha and Matthias Nicolaou. Otherwise, on Ryzen, faced a ton of good competition. Kai Asakura, Mizuguchi, Alcha Sakai, Kyoji Horiguchi, who's fighting this Friday with Bellator, Ian McCall. So he's really gone through the ringer, earned his stripes into the UFC, and looks like he's starting to get on track here. Zhalgas Zhumagulov out of Kazakhstan, 14-5 now for the kickboxer. Here, and 1 second. 14-5 here for the Kazakhstani kickboxer. Won his last fight back in July of this year over Jerome Rivera. So not exactly the craziest level. It was his first submission win. Before that, lost to Amir Albizi and Aurelien Paiva, both by decision. Beat Ali Bagutinov in Russia, which is no small feat. Beat Tagir Ulanbekov, Tyson Nam. Very, very good wins here for Zhalgas. He's looked a little bit gun shy at points and lacked a little bit too much volume, at points. But when he really gets aggressive, I'm talking about Kopp here. When he gets aggressive, he really is kind of that next level of opponent. But Zhalgas goes 0 to 100 real quick and stays at 100. You want to parlay Cape and Murano, but I don't think I was going to. Okay. First, I will not place any parlay, not prop bets. Okay. But yeah, I think that with Zhalgas here, this is going to be a close fight. And Manal Kopp tends to lose close fights due to the lack of volume, due to allowing his opponent to dictate a little bit too much of the pace here. So if Kopp's not aggressive here, I think Zhalgas takes the decision. If Kopp comes out and is aggressive and puts a little bit of pushes the pace, I like Kopp a lot, but not making weight last time out is a big concern for me. If he makes the weight, I think he again causes him to kind of. Kopp has not been aggressive so far in the UFC, though, about better. That's what we're saying. In the UFC so far, with Ode Osborne, he looked much more aggressive, but he also had 4 pounds of a weight miss to allow him to push the pace a little more. I'm wondering if he makes the 126 limit, how that affects his gas, how that affects his ability to push the pace, how it affects his aggressiveness. I'm wondering if as he's getting further into his career, the flyweight division's becoming a little too taxing with the weight cuts on him is my concern here. And Zhalgas is a guy who, if he's in a close fight going to a decision, could take it. I'm going to take Manal Kopp, though, here. I think he gets another finish. He has really been impressive before the UFC, and against Ode, I think we started to see signs of that again. I think he missed on purpose. Yeah. But still, he has to make weight here, and that's definitely something he's got to show me to do. So I got Manal Kopp here. I think he gets the finish. Minus 250 is a pretty steep price tag here. Zhalgas Zhumagulov plus 200. I can totally understand. I'm probably going to take a shot at Kopp by KO first round, maybe. But I'm going to have to figure out what I'm doing because Kopp minus 250 is not appealing to me. Sorry about that. Hit back on the wrong one, but gonna move on to the next fight here. Yeah, Ode did push the pace for that fight. Ode always pushes the pace, man. I love me some Ode. Respect to him, absolutely. But it should be a good fight. I think it's going to be a really close fight, possibly, or hopefully for my sake, Kopp just kind of cruises here to the win. But I'm not trusting him completely yet. 170 is next here. Jake Matthews taking on Jeremiah Wells on short notice here. Jeremiah Wells is 35 years old, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Henzo Gracie, Philly representative, 5'9", 75-inch reach, taking on the Melbourne, Victoria, Australia representative in Jake Matthews, the Celtic Kid, 5'11", 72-inch reach, 3-inch reach disadvantage for Jake, who's been in the UFC since he was a teenager. So Jeremiah Wells makes his UFC debut at 35 years old. And this is the beauty of the sport. They can get matched up together. Jeremiah Wells on a 3-fight win streak. Got that very impressive knockout in the second round of Warley Alves in the last fight back in June. He looked really good there. Prior to that, rear naked choke and punch finishes with CFFC. CFFC, I'm a huge fan of the organization. He's been around for a long time. Was matched up with Bobby Nash, Bobby Lee, and then Miguel Baeza. Ended up taking on Warley Alves and putting him away. Warley Alves either looks really good or really bad, and he looked very bad in the last fight there. But yeah, UFC kind of is Tapio. Honestly, they're trying to build him, but at the same point, Jake Matthews is just not what they wanted him to be, and he is yet to become that. He's a physical specimen, but it doesn't seem to be translating completely. 17-5 now, not a bad record at all, though, for the Australian Celtic Kid. Jake Matthews lost his last fight out to Sean Brady, got arm triangled in the third round. We've seen how good Sean Brady's looking. Not a huge mark on him there. Rostam Akman, Mio Meek, and Diego Sanchez he beat, but he wasn't able to finish any of these guys. I'll read off the names of the guys he's faced since losing. So beat Johnny Case, he was kind of on his way up, right? And then 2016 lost to Kevin Lee, and then lost to Andrew Holbrook. Beat Volhan Vetkovic by split decision. Jing Li, Li Jingliang, probably his best win by decision. Rear naked choked Shinzo Anzai, who shouldn't have been in the UFC. Then he got Anaconda choked in the third round by Anthony Martin, Rostam Akman, Emil Meek, and Diego Sanchez. Again, just not super impressed here. I really like Jeremiah Wells. He is coming into this so focused, so hungry. But yeah, he does gas as well. But yeah, I just think that I don't know. There's something missing from Jake Matthews here, and I do like Wells quite a bit here. There is the problem of Wells being short notice, but I do imagine that Wells has been staying ready after his UFC debut at 35, nearly 36 years old, knowing that this call is going to come at any point. So I think he is going to come into this in good shape. We'll want to wait for the weigh-ins to fully commit here, but I'm going to take a shot on Jeremiah Wells here. I really do like, Justin, I'm sorry. I'm in LA. I flew across the country and started the breakdown as soon as I got here. What more do you want? Jake Matthews minus 175 favorite, plus 155 on Jeremiah Wells. Wells does train with Sean Brady. Sean Brady being the last guy for Jake Matthews to take on. Definitely a very good sign there. Plus 155. Let's go, Jeremiah Wells. And there's no weight in Jake Matthews out grappling G either. Okay, yeah, fair enough. But yeah, Jeremiah Wells, I like here as my second, I believe, underdog on the prelims. So always like to get a couple dogs going here. Find out the featured prelim here at 185 between Dusko Todorovic and Maki Coconut Bomb Spitolo. I will be breaking down Mr. Dusko first here. The Serbian representative, 27.5 years old, 6'1", 74-inch reach for the middleweight out of Secutor MMA, taking on the West Oahu MMA representative and 31-year-old Hawaiian Maki Coconut Bombs Pitolo, 13-8. I will be breaking down Dusko here at 10-2 coming into this fight. Lost his last two out, however. So from 10-0 to 10-2, beat Daquan Townsend by ground and pound in his debut, but then it's gone on to lose. Got knocked down in the first round by Punahele Soriano. Once again, Dusko is another guy who likes to back up with his head straight up and often exposes that chin. Against Gregory Rodriguez, took a ton of shots, somehow didn't go down, but really the defense was not there. Gregory did get a decision there. And yeah, Dusko just not sure what we got yet. Yeah, he did finish Michel Pereira on the regional scene, and Daquan Townsend to start out your UFC career is fine, but not great. He was supposed to face Maki Pitolo back in June, and Maki was injured. Reset it up here now. Maki Pitolo, coconut bombs out of the Contender Series, 13-8. He's lost his last 3 out, being finished in 2 of those by submission. But yeah, you look back and the guy is going to get submitted, but pretty hard to put away with punches. He's been knocked out once back in 2014 and then by Cassius Kane in 2016. Has not been knocked out since then. Typically is exploited through the grappling. He's 1-4 in the UFC, beating Charles Byrd by ground and pound only. Yeah. And I was also really big on Dusko coming in here. And so, Justin, I hear cars where you're staying, everything good. If you're in need, I always have a bunk under the highway. Thanks. I appreciate it, Justin. I'm in LA this weekend. So poolside outside, trying to get the breakdown done. Yeah, Dusko, yeah, it's really kind of a question here. And yeah, Dusko does not have striking defense, no gas tank. Pitolo has a solid chin. Yeah, I think that we are all on the same page here. And I got another dog here. I got Maki Pitolo. I think that the pressure that he puts on the gas, the toughness, the chin that Maki has, and his ability to land himself, I like him by KO here. Plus 135 underdog, minus 165 to Dusko. Yeah, I like coconut bombs. That's our third dog to close out the prelims. Second straight dog included with Jeremiah Wells. So, yeah, Dusko definitely has a lot to prove here. This is a big fight for him. He loses this, he's going to be fighting with M1 or something, I would think. But next fight here, this is a huge dog chase card. I agree. Don't need to be parlaying a whole lot of these. There's going to be a lot of dogs. I agree with you about better. I haven't seen you here before, man, but I appreciate the comments here. So usually I'm able to focus a little more on them, but the solo show, it's a little bit tougher. So not ignoring anybody's thoughts here. But Brian Barberina taking on Darian Weeks. Darian Weeks, the second Weeks on the card here, out of Missouri, 28 years old, 175-11, the Hewlett House MMA gym, taking on the MMA Lab Jimmo representative and Brian Bam Bam Barberina, 32 years old. We'll taking a look at Darian Weeks first, 5-0, as I said. Taking this fight on very short notice. He's won 5 straight, needless to say. Did lose a boxing bout by split decision back in April, but as an MMA fighter, undefeated. All of his fights being finished by KO, except for one by rear naked choke. Has not faced the craziest level of competition. Dustin Parrish at 8-3-1 back in 2020 was his best win. Other than that, 2-0, 0-0. 3-4, so a little bit concerned about the step up in competition here. Was supposed to take on Josh Quinlan on the Contender Series. I believe Darian Weeks had a cornerman who was out with COVID, so it was not Darian Weeks. That's, I think, important to consider here. But yeah, and yeah, I mean, it's really hard to. How did Weeks get this bout? Someone had to take the bout, and they wanted to keep it 15, I guess. It's really, really hard for me to trust Bam Bam after his back surgery, either armchair, to be honest with you. And yeah, it is beautiful here, Peggy. I'm poolside right now. So yeah, it's pretty dope weather here. But yeah, Brian Bam Bam Barberina, 15-8, MMA Lab, 6 foot, 72-inch reach. Lost his last fight back in July of this year against Jason Witt. Yeah, that was a tough one. He did look to be much softer and much slower in there to me. yeah, Barberina is a zombie, but I'm not sure he's as functional of a zombie as he needs to be. But yeah, before that, beat Anthony Ivy in September of last year. Wasn't able to put Anthony Ivy away, however, and Anthony Ivy seems to hate being touched by a punch at all. So that was a little concern. Was put away by knockouts against Randy Brown and Vicente Luque as well. I think he's been through a lot of wars. Even in the wins, he takes a lot. And then the back surgery, I think, has really stifled him here. I think I'm going to go with Darian Weeks, just by way of 28 years old. He's young. You know, the COVID was with a cornerman, so I'm assuming he stayed ready. And yeah, I just think that back surgery is pretty deadly at this point. Oh yeah, you're in California too, Justin. I'm over in LA, so you're just down the road in Fresno. So yeah, I definitely like I like Darian Weeks here. And looking at the odds, I'm not sure if they are available yet on my site. But let me check best fight odds for you real quick and see what we got. Oh geez, Darian Weeks. Yeah, I think it's just too new for any odds, so we'll wait. Okay, plus 125. Thank you. Maybe wait a little bit longer. Tell you, but I don't see any money coming in on Barberina, so might just be a dog or pass for me. Thanks, About Better, by the way, for giving me that info. But yep, that's first fight on the main card. Kind of surprised there that this is the first fight on the main card, but it is what it is. Next fight, another short notice fight in Chris Curtis, Action Man, taking the short notice bout, looking for win number 6 on the year in 2021. Incredible for the Team Quest Syndicate MMA product, 34 years old, coming off that big win of Hawes by knockout at Madison Square Garden. Fantastic performance. But what a tough second test here in Brendan All-In Allen. Yeah, these guys are really, both really good. I have all the respect in the world for Chris Curtis. Earned his way into the UFC the very hard way with 30-plus fights before getting in here, 34 fights to be exact. Two-time champion, 170 and 185. Looked great against Kenny Robertson prior to that with XMMA as well. So a few former UFC wins in his last 5. Kyle Stewart he was able to put away, and then stepped up to 185, and he seemed to have no issues. The power was there. Was not intimidated by the physicality of Phil Hawes, and knocked him out in the first round. Didn't even have to take it deep. Was getting set up for a fight with Fury against Evan Cutts, and now he's fighting Brendan Allen all of a sudden. So quite the step up. Brendan Allen, 17-4 now, 2-fight win streak since letting that go against Sean Strickland, and just a tough fight for him. Heel hooked Carl Roberson, who for whatever reason Carl Roberson decided to grapple with Brendan Allen and paid the price. And then last fight out went to a decision with Punahele Soriano, very good fighter there. I think that Brendan Allen is on a roll. Being with Sanford MMA has been absolutely huge for Brendan Allen and his and I think the development in his game. Props to him for being willing to leave Rufus Sport. And yeah, this is not an easy fight though with Chris Curtis. Chris Curtis is going to be able to push the pace. Showed he has the power at 185, and the gas tank is all the way there. But this is a spot where I'm going to go with Brendan Allen. I think that the price is just way out of line, though. Minus 270 on Brendan Allen is just too much of a price, and I'm not exactly confident he gets the finish either. So I'll take Brendan Allen, but Chris Curtis is a live dog, and I would just suggest passing on that one based on the price. 205 next up here. This is a potential fight of the night here. Jimmy Crute taking on Jamal Hill, Michigan representative. Jamal Hill, 30 years old, 205, 6'4", 79-inch reach, coming off of that brutal defeat against Paul Craig, where Craig just got him trapped in a triangle arm bar and just ragdolled his arm. It ended up being, I think, just a dislocation, so looked much worse than it was, but was not a fracture or anything like that. Jamal Hill, excellent striker. His takedown defense isn't great, but his get-up defense is very good. Showed that with Darko Stosic. Darko was able to take him down a few times, got right back up, put away Ovin St. Peru, which is a very good win for me. Good striker overall. It's striker versus grappler here. Paul Craig, he just stayed in that guard, got way too comfortable. I don't think that Paul Craig and Jimmy Crute are similar types of grapplers, though. Jimmy Crute is able to get takedowns, but he is also allows a lot of the takedowns up, and that's kind of one of my issues for him. 12-2, lost his last fight out to Anthony Smith, had a weird kind of nerve injury in Jacksonville. But the fight I'm looking at specifically that I think this is going to be similar to possibly is the Michel Olejniczak fight, where, yes, he finished it by Kimura in round 1, but I believe he had 6 or 7 takedowns. So Michel was able to get up over and over again. And, yes, Jimmy was able to get him down, so there is that. The knockout of Modestas Bukauskas shows I think the striking is coming along, but I still think that a striking bout Jamal Hill wins 9 times out of 10. And I do think Jamal Hill, it's all about his ability to get up and stay up. I'm going to lean towards he is able to do so, but I can definitely understand a lot of under 1.5 minus 110. I don't hate that. Are you talking about for this Jamal Hill fight out better? Yeah, I honestly like just and then I own by decision plus 150. Yeah, I like Jamal Hill in this spot. I think that if he's able to get up from the takedowns, that's going to discourage Jimmy Crute as this goes on. This is a heavy dog card for me, plus 145 on Jamal Hill. I'll just take that straight up. And then, yeah, under 1.5. I mean, I definitely could see either guy getting a quick finish. You see with Jimmy Crute, he has a lot of first-round finishes for sure. Jamal Hill can knock out anybody, especially in the first round. So I don't hate that bet either about better. I'm going to take Jamal Hill straight up as well, though, at plus 145. So good dog bet there. Sweet dreams. Hopefully he's recovered well, but I believe it was just a dislocation. I don't think it was a fracture of any kind. So easy for me to say here, but moving on to the third from the top, 155. We got 2 nearly 40-year-olds, one of which is 39, 11 months, 3 weeks, and 5 days in Clay Guida. So by the time the fight rolls around, he's going to be 40. And he's every bit of 40, taking on the 41-year-old Leandro Santos here at 155. Nova Union for Leandro Santos, 6 foot, 75-inch reach. Coming off of a tough loss against Grant Dawson in his last fight. Was winning the first 2 rounds, and then with 1 second to go in the fight, he got hammer-fisted and put away. It is kind of the question with Leandro, who made his debut in MMA in 2002. That's right, 2002. When is the age going to catch up with him? His last 3 wins were over Adriano Martins in 2016. 3 years off after that before his knockout of Stevie Ray. And then he had a really sloppy win over Roman Bogatov. Ended up winning due to groin strikes, so not exactly how you draw it up there. Santos was supposed to be taking on Alexander Hernandez a couple months ago. Had to withdraw from that due to injury. Alexander Hernandez looked great in that fight. I think that would have been a tough one for him. Now facing a guy definitely similar in his career in Clay Guida. 36 and 21, 39 years old, nearly 40 for the Carpenter here. Coming off of a tough loss against Marco Madsen. Really did fight a good game plan, wore him down, and then just came up short on a split decision. I personally had Clay Guida in that fight. Before that, took Michael Johnson to the deep waters and survived showed the chin is still there after all these multiple wars he's been in. And then, the Bobby Green fight last June was great as well. I think that just Guida just has to stay on his bike, move around, and occasionally put on the pressure. But I think that I'm going to lean towards Clay Guida in this one. I think that he can stay out of the submissions. The striking is definitely an X factor for Santos. He seems to really be able to catch fighters on the end of his punches and put them back. And Guida just has so much experience here. 41, nearly 42 years old for Santos. Father Time is undefeated here. I get that Clay Guida's 40, but I think Clay Guida's still got plenty left in the tank here. So yeah, I like Clay Guida plus 155 underdog, minus 190. The dogs are barking here in Los Angeles so far. So yeah, give me Clay Guida here. Leandro Santos, I think that the last few fights have taken quite a bit out of him, especially that Grant Dawson war. But he was beating Grant Dawson before that fight was stopped. So there is that. So if you're on Leandro Santos, don't let me completely talk you out of it. But I like Guida, the experience, and yeah, Guida by decision, of course. I mean, I'm not going to pick him to get a finish here. But moving on to the next fight, co-main event here, another potential fight of the night, and this one is I'm willing to bet staying on the feet for the most part, unless Brad Riddell decides to test his wrestling a little bit, but I don't think he will. I think personally they're gonna go to battle here. Rafael Fiziev, Adaman, taking on Brad Quake Riddell. Be breaking down the New Zealand product Brad Riddell first out of Phuket, Thailand. Tiger Muay Thai. Both these guys are former Tiger Muay Thai guys now. Brad Riddell was City Kickboxing. Rafael Fiziev over in the States. Now he's been over there, but former Tiger Muay Thai striking coach. So these guys are definitely familiar with each other. 10-1 versus 10-1. Perfect matchmaking. Coming off of Brad Riddell has not lost since being in the UFC. He's won 7 straight. Since being with the UFC, Jamie Malarkey, Magomed Musayev, Alex Da Silva, and Drew Dauber, all very, very solid guys in the stand-up department and just overall good experience there. He's looked really good. He's gone to decision in all these, but that hasn't been a problem. He's, I think, looked to expand his MMA game a little bit in some of these fights, and I think if either guy is going to go for a takedown, it would be Brad Riddell. Fiziev, I don't know. Fiziev, I think we've got I think Fiziev has the worst striking defense of the two. So when you say Riddell needs to mix it up or Fiziev will outpoint him, I think Riddell actually has better defense and, I agree, better grappling overall. So I don't think that necessarily if it's purely on the feet, Riddell loses, but I think Riddell's got to know that to win this fight, he's got to push Fiziev overall. 10-1 and Fiziev's only loss coming by a wheel kick against Mustayev in his UFC debut since then, beating Alex White, Mark Diakese, knocked out Moicano in the first round, and then a really good fight with Bob Green, very entertaining, but came out on the right end. That fight definitely showed me quite a bit with Fiziev, but again, it's Riddell's the more complete fighter. Exactly, armchair. So I've got to go with Brad Riddell here. I just think that he will fight a smart game plan. Money's been coming in on him. He's now even overall, still technically the dog, minus 120 on Fiziev. I think this goes to a decision, though. I don't see either guy getting the finish. If it stays on the feet, I do think it's closer, but edge to Fiziev, but it can be closer, but I just don't see Riddell purely keeping this on the feet. Going to decision, I love Riddell, but I feel Rafael is going to win this one. Yeah, I got Brad Riddell, even money. And I think this goes over the 2.5. So whatever that is, if that's not ridiculously priced, I would bet on that as well. These guys very familiar with each other, very good technically, and should be an excellent fight. All right, we have arrived at the main event here at Bantamweight, where Rob Font is taking on Jose Aldo. Biggest fight of Rob Font's career here. Huge opportunity for him to really make his stand as a contender. 19-4 against the 30-7 Jose Aldo. 35 versus 34. So both these guys in a more advanced stage at the 135 division. Nova Union product in Jose Aldo versus the Lausanne mixed martial arts product in Rob Font of Boston, of Massachusetts. I'll be breaking down Jose Aldo Jr. First here, 30-7, as I said, coming off of 2 straight wins over Marlon Vera. Great fight there, really close fight. And Pedro Munoz back in August of this year. The reports of Jose Aldo's demise were falsely misreported there. He did lose to Alexander Volkanovski, a split against Marlon Moraes, and then ground and pound finish in the 5th round against Peter Yan. But we've seen, again, Yan is one of the best in the world now, and definitely the last few, he's looked very, very good, back to form here. The leg kicks are there, using a little bit of the wrestling and the jiu-jitsu finally for Jose, which it's been a while. Yep, hedge your total play there. That's why I would do 2 bout better. Font is going to potentially finish also late. Yeah. And then absolutely, Melissa, I am enjoying myself here. But yeah, Rob Font, 19-4. It's just looked really, really good. It's just been all about staying active for the guy. 4 straight wins, hasn't fought since May of this year, where he defeated Cody Garbrandt in just a complete performance. But again, Cody Garbrandt at 135. Not so sure how great of a win that is at this point. The Ricky Simone win, very impressive, knocking out Marlon Moraes, though, and then beating Sergio Pettis. That's quite a foursome here that is really working up to earning your way into a Jose Aldo fight. His losses coming to Pedro Munoz by guillotine, surprisingly, and then decisions against Asunciao and Lineker, Douglas De Silva, De Andrade, Matt Schnell. I mean, just has faced a really good run of talent here at 135 and working his way up here to Jose. Yeah, and then Jose ball up against the elite. And I do think that Rob Font is the elite. At this point, I do think that Jose Aldo has had a lot of damage from the strikes, and the guys who are able to put him away are the top-of-the-line guys. The Marlon Vera fight was very, very close, and I personally had Marlon Vera winning that fight. But the fact that Aldo was able to get through that fight and not be finished, Rob Font, though, has a little more precise punches and a little more volume to his strikes. Sometimes Marlon Vera can get a little bit too lackadaisical with his striking volume and everything like that. And while the elbows and the knees are there, Aldo being a Muay Thai practitioner himself, maybe a little more ready for that. Font, more of a traditional boxer, going to be fighting very long and very, very strong in half the amount of fights. Yet, while the experience is on Jose's side, I do think that the wear and tear is on Rob Font's side. So, and the Pedro Munoz fight was close. I think that people are very excited to kind of say Jose Aldo's back here, and I want to take advantage of that. I think I am going to be doing so with a bet of Rob Font here. Minus 150 currently is the line on him. I think that's very decent. Plus 240 inside the distance. I wouldn't hate that. I'm going to sprinkle round 4 and round 5 for Rob Font, plus 1,600 and plus 2,000 as well. So, yeah, going with the favorite one at minus 150 and Rob Font. I maybe would wait to bet it because I think the money from the casual bettors will come in on Jose Aldo as we get closer to this. Yeah, I mean, definitely if Jose can kick and clinch, he can. Yeah, Jose has a very good chance at winning this fight by all means, but I'm going to take Rob Font here. So real quick, go through our picks, and then I will bid you farewell from LA until the Bellator breakdown tomorrow. But going to go with Luis Smolka over Vince Morales, Alex Murano over Mickey Gall, reluctantly Azamat Mirzakhanov over Jared Bandera, Claudio Puelles over Chris Grutzmaker, Alonzo Manafield over William Knight. So far I have all red corner. Cheyenne buys, I'm going to go with Mallory Martin, red corner over Cheyenne Villasmas now. Finally, blue corner, Manal Kopp over Zaga Sumagalov, Jeremiah Wells over Jake Matthews, Maki Pitolo over Dusko Todorovic, Darian Weeks over Brian Barberina, Brendan Allen over Chris Curtis, Jamal Hill over Jimmy Crute, Clay Guida over Leandro Santos, Brad Riddell over Rafael Fiziev, and Rob Font over Jose Aldo Jr. I'm not taking advantage of Aldo. I'm just you gotta make your picks. Yeah, and then, yep, yes sir, we in Cali, West Coast. But that's gonna do it for the breakdown. I know it was a little bit shorter today, but the solo and the conditions gotta kind of shorten it up a little bit. So thank you all for joining me. I appreciate everybody in the comments here. Hey, it's fun to play the dogs about better. The great thing about playing the dogs, you got to hit 2 or 3 of those to have a better night than hitting all those favorites. So, dogs are going to be barking on Saturday. Enjoy the fights, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me here from Los Angeles, California. Tomorrow, I will be back with Lewis of Norton MMA to break down the Bellator MMA card this Friday. Shout out to Bunny, who was at the virtual press conference today doing her thing. So, definitely, if you're following Boston Comments online, give her some love. But until next time, everybody, have a great day. Peace out. Enjoy yourself. Be safe and don't talk to strangers.